Hey y'all, hey, it's me. It's all what is it? It's Relly's World and it's all relative and it's me, Relly. All right, let's do it. Real Housewives of OC episode 3. Episode 2 really didn't give much. I really just was like, meh. So I didn't really talk about it. But this week there was a lot of stuff going on. Okay, let's do it. Vicki and Shannon. Vicki wanting to have this meeting with Shannon and Tamra is selfish, period. This isn't about, oh, I really want to mend the relationship, or I think Tamra should apologize to Shannon because she hurt Shannon. This is about Vicki. Vicki's like, I want to have fun, I want to whoop it up, and I want to live in the past. That's the problem. Is that Vicki is so right? Like, I don't want to talk about people, but Vicki is really not content in her life and hasn't been for a very long time. Which is why she's always like, what are we doing? Why are we talking about this? This is boring. Because and she wants to be the queen bee, but that comes from a place that is unhappiness within herself. So, Shannon, why are you friends with these people? Like, I just don't understand. And I think that they take advantage of you wanting friends. I feel like I think, Shannon, you're a good person. You are. And these people just don't mean you all that good, and Vicki don't mean you well. Because as a friend, if I was in the middle of my two friends who used to be friends and are on the outs, I would side with the person that's right. Not because, oh, I just want us to be back together again. Like I said, that's selfish, and that's just that, and it just aggravates me to no end. Victoria, in the words of Emily, I am just not here for you, doll. Okay. Then we go to Tamara and Teddy. I really appreciated the conversation that Teddy and Tamara had. I think that it shows that you can be different in different relationships. So seemingly Tamra is a different person, and she can be kind, thoughtful, caring, and can watch her mouth with her friendship with Teddy. And Teddy pointed out to her and said, like, yo, you are so, she said, you're so used to being disappointed that you kind of show up thinking that they're going to disappoint you, and then you show up as the bigger asshole than they are. Yes, Teddy, yes, right? So I love that. And she is holding you accountable in a way I think that only maybe she can. Um, so we can see, because I'm always like, Tamra, I do not like her, Sam, I am. But right, she has a husband and she does have relationships, so she can be lovable. She just is a bitch to people. But the thing that gets me with Tamra is that she's always like, well, I had so much going on, as though she's the only one that has something going on. You're not. Um, your job is to not bleed on people that did not cut you. And what you do, Tamara, is you go around bleeding. You cut people and you bleed on them, right? So you are just really a menace. And then when you get put in the seat of accountability, you hop up going, but I've got this going on. Everybody got something going on. You are not the only person that has something going on. I swear for God, you're not. And that doesn't give you carte blanche to be out here just being a menace. Like I said, you not only bleed on people that didn't cut you, you go and you cut other people. And then you just want to move on. Oh, well, too bad, so sad. So, no, absolutely not. I also appreciate that Teddy talks about how, her doctors share with her, like, people with your situation often don't walk or don't talk or whatever the case may be. And they're like, you should be so grateful. And she's like, yeah, but I'm not. That is so real. And I think it highlights this point. People love to tell you, like, oh, it could always be worse. It could always be worse. But right now, in this moment, this feels like my worst. So telling me that somebody else got it worse than me is not helpful to me in this moment. And that doesn't allow me to really feel the depths of my feelings to be able to get to the other side. In my opinion, the only way to get to the other side is through. You got to go through it. And so we have to allow people to go through it. And by saying, oh, you should be grateful that X, Y, and Z. I'm not. And then that just causes, even more stress and upset because now I feel guilty for not feeling grateful because my shit is fucked up right now. I am unhappy in this moment right now. And yes, I should be grateful for life, but what happens when I'm not? So please, people, stop doing that because it only adds to their stress. And I know you're trying to be helpful, but sometimes just sit with them. If you ain't got nothing to say, just, I'm sorry you're really going through this, and how can I help? And sometimes just asking, sometimes just sitting with them is enough, right? Letting them be seen is just enough for them. Let them get there, but don't tell people that what they should be grateful for and what they shouldn't be grateful for, because it really is not as helpful as you think that it is. Okay, great. So then we go to Ryan and Jen. And what we're watching is Jen is genuinely guilty. She feels bad for what she did. And what she did is nothing to feel bad for. She went after her happiness. She was in an unhappy marriage and she cheated, got with Ryan, and because Ryan makes her happy. And she deserves to go after that happiness. And I'm not going to beat Jen up about it. I'm going to say, Jen, you have to stop feeling bad for doing so. And I think Jen and Ryan are having two separate conversations. Jen is trying to be a stand up individual, and she's saying, I know I messed up my marriage in that I wanted out and I got with you. And I'm trying to compensate for the way that I caused hurt to, my kids. And even seemingly, I think she's taking responsibility for hurting her ex husband. And Ryan is saying, yeah, I hear all that and cut that out because as a man and as a father, there's nothing that would cause me to not be in my children's lives. And so Ryan is asking that the ex husband, I think his name is Will, asking that Will take accountability for being a father. Yes, you were hurt. Yes, Jen left you. And that's the other thing, is that marriage, it wasn't all Jen's fault that marriage broke up. There were other reasons and so on and so forth. So if you want somebody to, you have to take 50-50 in the dissolution of a marriage. Shit, maybe it was 60-40. It could be 70-30, but that does not absolve you from doing your part as a parent. And so, yes, you're hurt. Okay. But there are kids here. And Jen is taking on accountability and responsibility. And she feels the weight of the world because she's like, damn it, I just wanted to be happy. And she found her happiness in Ryan. And so she's trying to, like she says, compensate for Will being missing in action. You'll never do that, Jen. You just got to cut that out. You are a mother and Will needs to be a father. And if Will is not willing to do what's necessary to step up to be a father, to put those feelings aside, there's nothing you could do. But what you can do is let the children know where the accountability lies. I understand that I hurt daddy's feelings. Mommy was just trying to make sure that she was happy. And in the process, the marriage ended. Daddy has to daddy has to show up because I'm showing up the only way that I know how, as much as I can, and I can't make daddy be here anymore. That's it. That's it. And everybody has a choice. The children have a choice whether they will believe you or not. Your ex-husband, Will, has responsibility to move on and to show up and be a parent to his kid, but you can't run yourself into the ground trying to prove that you're a good person and make up for the fact that you left their father. You were in an unhappy marriage and that just happens, period. And you're doing what you're supposed to do, which is you're trying to be a good mom and you're doing all the things and you're trying to be attentive. So, like, that's it. And I want you to hear your new fiance or your husband in Ryan, and allow Ryan, in, and trust his opinion of what's going on. You're in it and he's a little bit outside of it and he sees it from a different perspective. Listen to him. He's not going to steer you wrong, right? That's the whole thing. You trust him, you want to be with him. Trust that he's a good guy and wants what's best for your children as well, and that he's saying, yo, as a man, he needs to do better. Will needs to do better, needs to step up and get on his side, sis, because that's where you need to be. Jen and Heather. So Heather talking to Emily about how she is uncertain about her friendship with Jen. I think what's missing here sometimes, right? 2 plus 2 equals 7. Right now, that's what we have because neither one of them are being completely honest with the other. Jen, you have got to go directly to Heather and tell her when you, after that reunion, when we were at dinner, you were the one leading the charge about the issues that you had with Tamra. And it could be, I read that as you really didn't like Tamra or whatever the case may be, but that's what's missing. So as far as Heather's concerned, she don't really know what you're talking about. She's like, what? And you asked, and so on and so forth. There's something missing. And when something's missing, everybody is, it's troublesome. Everybody doesn't really know what's going on, and so they're assuming a lot of things. Y'all need to have a very clear conversation that you say, I think you talk shit about Tamara behind her back, and you show up differently in her face. Put that out there and give her the examples, and she could either accept it or not accept it, right? Like that's all she got. So there's that. Gina and Travis, and this talk about the name change. I am busy, okay? Yes, I love you. Now please go that way. Go. Go. Thank you. Gina and Travis, this name change business. I love that, Gina is being open and vocal about it, but I think that's exactly what it is. The kids really don't care, so this is more of your issue. And I think at the crux of it, it's what little Lucas said. We're family anyway. Excuse me. I have got kids. They got all kind of names. My name is different. I was born one way. My mom added my dad's name. And then I grew up only to find out that his name shouldn't be my last name because he ain't my dad. All of that. My kids have different last names. Only one of my kids have my maiden name, but then I added his dad's name. So, baby, it's whatever. And he go by his dad's name, not my name. It's a mess over here. But you know what? We all belong together. You know what I mean? They know that I'm their mother. They are siblings amongst one another. And that's it, period. And that's what it comes down to. So it's a personal preference. You know what I mean? But I can't imagine, was it Kreichenhofer, and hyphenating it, Kreichenhofer Mullen. Like that's a lot of letters. The good thing is, I mean, I don't know, that's a lot of letters. Um, and you get to make that for yourself. And I understand there's no right or wrong. That's the great thing, is that you get to make that decision for yourself. Some people, they, believe in exactly what she's saying. I want my kids to know, that we are a tribe and that we go together and we belong together. Um, and also that you want to acknowledge your new husband and be with his kids. But that's just really something that you've got to come to on your own. But the best part is that you ask the kids and they really don't care. So then you get to make that decision all about yourself. I love that. And yeah, get your money together. Get your prenup, sis. Protect yourself because, and I would say that men and women, protect yourself. Um, you know what you came in here with, and who you marry is not who you divorce. Always remember that. So things are fine now, and you're like, oh, we don't need that because we could break up amicably. You're in love now. You have consideration for the other person and their feelings, and they have consideration for you and yours. That's not what happens when you get divorced, baby. You want to stick it to them sometimes, depending on the reason why there's, a divorce. So always protect yourself and just make it super duper easy. You know what I'm saying? There's that. Carmela and Emily. Carmela talking about, what you do, no matter what it is, when you get a gift, you say thank you. I think Emily put 5 on 10 or 10 on 5 in that she's like, was she trying to make it a moment? I think she was asking because there was a gag gift. I think she wanted to see your reaction. So I think that just was her being cheeky and funny. Um, and if she got money to buy Dior bags, like awesome. Maybe she got a discount. Maybe it's a knockoff. Who the freak knows? But some people take gift giving very seriously. My sister takes gift giving very seriously. She puts a lot of thought into it. And she does, like, she likes to know that she hit it on the head. So it just really depends, not necessarily about a moment for anybody. Just like, I really like giving gifts because it's more about them than it is about the person that they're giving the gifts about. And that's fine. So, Emily, just say thank you. Um, I loved Emily and Jen talking about their kids, and Emily sharing that when Luke was going through, that Annabelle felt, she felt abandoned, and how like at 8:30 at night she goes to her kid's game, or she goes to her cheer practice to show her kid like, I'm here, I'm present. And that's the truth. That kids need us, and that is what it means to be like a parent and an involved parent. You show up because you're trying your very, very best to be, what your kids need, that you to be. And Jen being like, oh, there's something going on with Grayson and I don't know what. That also feels horrible as a parent, to know your kid is struggling, hurting, and there's nothing you could do to make it better. And I'm very honest about how like being a parent is so hard, and it's so hard. I have not always enjoyed it because it's so hard. And I've got four, and they all need me in different ways at different times, and there's only so much gas left in the tank to be able to show up. I can't imagine what people are doing who have so many. Like Nick Cannon got, what do you got? 12, 18, 14, 26. I don't know. But he's got so many kids. I don't know how you can be a good parent to all of those kids and do what you need to do. And my aunt, who is no liar, let me tell you something. She said, the bigger the kid, the bigger the problem. And that's the truth. And just in that, what those kids face and go through, it is harder sometimes. And we see later on with Jen and Grayson exactly what she's saying, what my aunt is talking about. Grayson is a 17-year-old teenager, and he's dealing with bullying from at school, and I imagine, could only imagine what he's going through with that, bullying, and he misses his dad. And so, and this is just me on the outside, and I'm not saying that Jen isn't a great mom, because Jen is a great mom and she's giving everything that she has. But in that moment, with her sharing, about what's going on, or Grayson sharing with her what's going on, Grayson ended up having to console and comfort her, and that wasn't that wasn't the plan. That's not really how that works. And so the other part I think that this shows us is that it's important for us to get our children someone outside of us to help just our children, so that they don't end up having to console us. Because underneath all of this is guilt for Jen. Jen feels so guilty about leaving that man. And again, what she's not doing, because she's so in her head and her heart about her guilt, is that she's not placing accountability where it belongs. This is a conversation for Grayson to have with his father. And Jen, you go, well, would you like me to help you have that conversation? Would you like me to reach out to dad and say, dad, or say to Will, Grayson needs to talk to you? Right? Do you want me to sit there and hold your hand while you tell dad what's on your heart? Certainly, dad may say, well, I know this is just your mother. And this is where a mediation, a family, mediation could be helpful, so that there could be, and I just think about this because I'm a mediator, um, where it could be helpful that this come up and a neutral party is here to help Grayson have the conversation that he needs to have with his dad, right? So, and just getting it out sometimes is necessary. But Jen, it's not your fault. You get to go and want to be happy. And and the thing is, the reason why sometimes, and I can't say the reason why, sometimes kids stay in it because you're still in it. You're not like, hey, 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 look, this is kind of what it is. You're still like, okay, it's okay, and I'm so sorry. And now we get to the point where, yes, I made a decision for myself, and dad is making a decision for you guys that has nothing to do with me. When do you stop being guilty long enough to put accountability over there on Will's porch? Will, you need to do better with your kids. Your kid needs you and misses you. right? And so Grayson says, I just want things to be easy. And that's how kids are. And that's what he's supposed to want as a kid. But what he has to learn, unfortunately, as a kid coming into young adulthood is that that's life. Life ain't easy. It don't go the way we want it to go, how we want it to go, when we want it to go, but it goes, you know what I mean? And you have to be able to navigate it. And so what he needs is help learning how to adjust to all of these changes that are going on in his life. And this is a very difficult time for him at 17, right? And that's why Jen, that one talk doesn't solve it. And he needs a couple of talks with, someone other than yourself in order to help him navigate that. Because also you're in such not the best place. And I don't want to say healthy because you're thinking about it in a healthy way and you're trying to take accountability for what it is that you've done, but really it's guilt now. You feel incredibly guilty and you shouldn't. So you need to do some work on that. Okay. All right. Great. So now we get to this lunch at the Quiet Woman. This lunch pissed me clean off, if you will. Number one, that sign that said, like, if you think you're better than someone or think you can dismiss people, like, you can't. Good for you, Quiet Woman. Let them know. Don't come in here with that nonsense. Tamra and her as she's prepping when talking to Vicki. No, you have to go that way. Go. I love you, but go. Thank you. And Tamra says, I'm going to say, hey, we both said some things, right? And Vicki says, okay, but you should start with an apology. Tamra, no, I'm not doing that because I did that last year. Tells us everything that we need to know about Tamra. Tamra does not like accountability, babes. Like, she just don't like it. I don't even understand how 4 weeks ago you could have cussed your so-called friend and not be willing to apologize for it. That, for me, is the issue and the problem. And then the other part of that is that when you speak to Shannon, because it's always, oh, well, you did, you said, you did, you said. If you saw something that Shannon did or said in a confessional or wherever, that's when you're supposed to confront her about it. And not then wait to then lob incredible insults that are seriously hurtful or serious insults that are incredibly hurtful to Shannon and then go, but we should just move on. This we should just move on is really troubling. Vicki, for you to ask of that is problematic. And I really do hate that, Shannon, you fell back into it because we know who Tamra is. And you are going to have to walk on eggshells. And I love that you guys want to recapture this moment. Sometimes it just was a moment. That's the thing. Sometimes that was just for a period in our lives and you hold it dear, but sometimes too much has happened that you can never have that back. Tres Amigas has been fractured, right? And so I tell people it's like when you throw a plate on the floor, or let's say a plate falls on the floor and it cracks and you can glue it back together again. It can break, it shatters. When the plate shatters, right? You can glue it back together, but it still has cracks. That's what Tres Amigas is. That friendship has many fractures and cracks, and you keep putting bandages on it. But if you were to put water in it, you know what I mean? You have to hold it so gingerly. It's not what it was, and it never will be the same ever again. And I don't know if you really can have Tres Amigas because there was genuine love there. To ask Shannon to let her guard down, because I think that's what Vicki said when she was out with Jen and Gina. I need Shannon to lower her guard. Why? If you were friends with her? I am so serious about my friends. I love them intensely. I would never ask my friend to lower their guard for someone that I know has bad behavior, that has terrible outbursts and lobs serious insults. I would never tell them, oh, lower your guard and let them come over there and hurt you. If anything, I'd be like, girl, do not play with her. You want to have a relationship with her, it has to be very surface level. You can't ever go deep with her, and you can't ever trust her. That's what I would say. Child, I don't know where I was. But anyway, why would you tell your friend to lower their guard against someone who has continued to hurt them? And you can say, well, Shannon hurt Tamara too. Okay, fine. So again, then why try and mend this relationship and make it something like it used to be? So I don't trust Tamara. And it's not for me to trust Tamara, but I like Shannon. So I'm like, oh, Shannon, why, Lord? But sometimes you got to find out the hard way. So we finna see what's gonna happen here. That's all we got. Until next time, let me know. Do you think that if Shannon should trust Tamara again? Get in the comments and let's talk about it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.